Hello students, today is the last lecture for ecology. So with this lecture we finished this ecology first chapter, that is organisms and population. In today's lecture we will discuss about various topics. Actually, with yesterday's videos lecture I completed all the topics and very few like 2 3 small topics are left. So in this video lecture I am going to discuss about 3 4 small topics. So let us take the first topic of today, that is species. Species is a basic unit of classification, and species can be defined as group of similar individuals which are having the capacity of interbreeding. That means they have ability to produce the offsprings of their own kind, so they can be able to continue their genera by producing the young ones, and then that group of individuals they are called as species. And that species are of three types. The first type is endemic species, and this is the group of species which are restricted to a particular area. That means here you can see the first example. This is actually sequoia. It is restricted to only the valley of China. So that means only here you can be able to see this particular sequoia plant, of course meta sequoia plant, and nowhere else you can be able to see this plant. Whereas the next example, kangaroo, this is completely restricted to Australia. For example, we are living in India. Nowhere you can be able to see this particular kangaroo. That means the organisms which are restricted to one particular area, that is called as endemic species. Now, the second type of species is keystone species. This is a very important type of group. This type of species which greatly influences the community characteristics. That means I'll tell you very easily by taking one example. Here I have taken the example of lion, and lion is a very dominant predator that is present in an ecosystem. And this lion, it decides the number of remaining all the animals. For example, if any buffalo species it is growing more, and because of the presence of this particular lion their population will be under control. For example, if this lion it is not there or absent in that particular forest, and this herbivore population it greatly increases, and it creates hazardous effect in that particular forest. So the organism or the species which decides the other species number, then that is called as keystone species. An example is lion and kangaroo rat in desert. Now, the third species is critical link species, and this species in the name itself it is clearly mentioned. It is linking one species to another species. For example, this bird, I'm sorry, this is a butterfly. This butterfly it pollinates. That means the flower it produces pollen grains. And what is the meaning of pollination? The process of transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another flower, that is called as pollination. So two organisms of a species it is connected by this butterfly species, then that is called as a critical link species. Hope you understand. One species it is connecting the organisms of another species, then that is called as a critical link species. And mycorrhiza also, and it is an association that is existing between the roots of higher plants to the fungus. That means one species it is connecting the individuals of other species, then that is called as a critical link species. Now we take another topic. So I already clearly mentioned in the starting of the video itself. Today we are not dealing with a big topic, and we are dealing with 2 3 topics, small topics. So The next topic is ecotone and edge effect. Ecotone means this is a transition zone between two communities. That means let us take here, this is ecosystem 1 and this is ecosystem 2, and here the ecosystem 1 in the given example, it is a land ecosystem, that means a terrestrial ecosystem, whereas here ecosystem 2, it is aquatic, that means water ecosystem. Whereas let us come to the ecotone. Ecotone means it is a transition zone. That means this is a zone that is existing between two ecosystems. Then this particular middle area where the aquatic zone and also this terrestrial zone both are mixing, that means merging, and this particular area it is called as ecotone. Hope you understand. Whereas edge effect means these ecotone, which type of species are mostly present, and that species are called as edge species. That means let us take here some frog is there, so the frog species which is present in this ecotone area, that is called as edge species, and this effect it is called as edge effect. Now one more concept, that is uh, this competitive exclusion principle. Gauss's competitive exclusion principle. Hope you remember yesterday's video also I gave this Gauss's a competitive exclusion principle means, let us take this is one species and we'll name this species A, and let us take this is one more species, we'll name this species as B. So A species and B species, when they are sharing the common resource, they may it may lead to competition, so it results in the exclusion of any one species, then that is called as Gauss's competitive exclusion. Competitive exclusion, exclusion means removal, and this removal of any species it takes place due to the competition, then that is called as competitive exclusion principle. But later it is proved wrong. The students who already read yesterday's video, they clearly understand Gauss's a competitive exclusion principle, it is correct but not correct every time. That means two species sometimes they coexist also, that means by developing separate feeding habitats. For example, I'll tell you a very simple example. Darwin finches. Actually, their name is not Darwin finches. Their name is finch birds. But because Darwin he experimented on them, that's why we call the finch birds as Darwin finches. Darwin finches, due to competition, that means they used to stay in the same habitat in area called as Galapagos Island. Because these finch birds day by day they started increasing, they started competing for the same food. Some group of this particular finches they got separated by themselves and they started eating worms, and again they started growing, and again from that particular group one more new group has formed and they started eating fishes. Like that, one species only, because they are competing for the same type of resource, they group themselves, they isolate themselves in form of a group and they form a separate group. For example, in the classroom also, two three groups will be there, and the one who read more, who read good, they make one group, and the one who read more and also they make little masti, they becomes one group. But actually they are actually we are all belongs to the homo sapiens. Hope you understand now. So Gauss's competitive exclusion principle is correct, please understand, but not correct every time. Sometimes they coexist also by opting different types of feeding habitats. Now the next topic is nectons. Nectons means either aquatic plants or animals which are capable to swim actively, they are called as nectons, and they swim actively by various locomotory organs. And again nectons are of two types. The first one is phytonecton And the next one is zoonecton. Phytonecton, in the name itself it is clearly mentioned, it is a group of necton which belongs to the plants. So they move, they perform locomotion by flagella. And here I gave some examples also. Chlamydomonas, see, Chlamydomonas that is having flagella, and here the labeling is also given. So this is flagella, so it can be able to move. And also dinoflagellates, see, so many dinoflagellates I kept here. Noctiluca, like that, so many I have given here, and these are all dinoflagellates. They have their own locomotory organelles, like flagella, so they can be able to move. Then that group only, it is called as nectons. Nectons basically means they are capable to move. They are capable to exhibit a property called as locomotion, like that. Zoonectons, that means in the name itself, zoonectons means animal nectons. And examples are fishes and frogs and also cuttlefish. See here I gave the image of cuttlefish actually. So these all the examples for zoonectons. Hope you understand. Necton means these are the organisms which are capable to exhibit a exclusive property called as locomotion. Now, one more topic, that is planktons. Planktons means they don't have any locomotory organs, but still they exhibit movement. How? By the water currents. That means where water go, and in that particular direction only they can be able to swim. But individually by themselves they don't exhibit any sort of locomotory organs. So locomotory organs are not there, but still they can be able to move. So planktons are free floating and small organisms which exhibit movement according to the water current, that means the direction of the water. Then that is called as planktons. Again here also there are two types. One is phytoplankton, that means that means plant group of planktons, whereas zooplanktons, that means animal group of planktons. And for phytoplanktons, the best example is diatoms, whereas zooplanktons, the best examples are protozoans, some crustaceans, and many larvae. So many we used, that's why larvae we have to call. So single we have to, when we take, then that is called as a larva. Now, echolocation. Echolocation basically means detecting any object with the help of sound waves. So sound waves help them. For example, some organisms are nocturnal. Nocturnal means they are active during night time. So night time there won't be any light, but still they can be able to detect the objects. For example, bat is there. If this bat usually feed during a night time, like some moths or some butterflies, something, some insects like that, it will eat. But how it can be able to detect this particular food? By this sound waves. That's why in this diagram I clearly showing, by using this arrow mark I'm showing. So these are the sound waves. With the help of the sound waves it can be able to detect the object. So detecting the objects with the help of the sound waves, that only it is called as echolocation. And examples, I already used one example, that is bat, and one more example, dolphins, and some nocturnal birds. So these are the best example for echolocation. Now the next ones, next topic is, and of course this is a last topic of your ecology. With this complete ecology mein first chapter, that is organisms and population, this chapter it is completed. Now the last topic is Gloger's rule. Basically Gloger's rule, it is clearly stating that animals coloration it changes according to the climatic variations. And the birds which are actually Gloger's, he clearly mentioned birds and mammals will be dark who are living in humid and warmer areas, and they are little fair who are living in colder areas. For example, Here I gave one example also. This is rabbit, and of course this is also rabbit, but this is a rabbit which is living in tropic region where the temperature is more. Because temperature is more, it is in a dark complexion, whereas it is living in cold region, that's why it is fair in its complexion. So what Glogger's rule is telling, impact of the climatic variations on the coloration of an animal, that is called as Glogger's rule. See, the coloration, it is changed, the color of the skin, it is changed. It is living in polar region, that means cold region, that's why it is fair in its complexion. Whereas it is living in a tropical region, that means where the temperature it is high, that's why it is a dark. And for you I brought one more example also. See, this is also bear and this is also a bear, but this is a tropical one, that's why it is looking dark, and this is polar, that's why the coloration is pale. So the impact of climatic variations on the coloration of the animal, that is called as Glogger's rule. Hope you understand. Students, I completed the first chapter of your ecology, that is organisms and population. Now, I wanted to ask you one question. Please, I am to today by evening, hope most of the students will answer this question. Shall I continue with this ecology? Because ecology may the first chapter, that means organisms and population, is a big chapter, whereas the remaining three chapters are little small. Maximum each chapter we can be able to complete in maximum 8 or 9 days. So shall I complete this particular unit and then I'll go for plant physiology? No, I have to start plant physiology, and then after finishing the plant physiology, should I come back to this ecology? You decide and you WhatsApp me, and according to your wish, I'll continue. Anyway, ecology I only have to complete, and even the plant physiology also I only have to complete. So, whatever you say, I will explain. So, I don't have any problem. You think according to your comfort and let me know, and I will do according to that. Thank you so much.